What do you do before you go on a journey? If I'm driving somewhere new, the first thing I do is consult a map. Now, you may be wondering, Mr. Hurley, why do you consult a paper map rather than using Google Maps? And there are a lot of reasons for that. This map has a lot of information you might not find on Google Maps, including, for example, which intersections have traffic lights. Anyways, the point is that if I'm going on a trip to somewhere new, the first thing I do is make a plan. I need to figure out where I am, where I'm going, and how to get there. And we need to make a plan too, because we're heading off on a journey of writing. We're going to write a story about a hero that we are imagining, but the problem that the hero solves is based on real life problems that exist in the world. You've already done some of the research for that, and we're almost ready to start the writing. But before we do, we need to make a plan. We need to think about how we're going to fit our story together. Let's take a look at what kind of things we need to include in our story. Your story needs to have a hero, and that hero needs to discover and confront some sort of problem that's happening in our world, and they need to think about the causes and effects of that problem and how they can solve them. And the hero might be afraid or scared of what's going on, but the hero is brave and is therefore going to face and confront their fears. And the hero has some sort of skill which is admirable and that the hero uses to solve that problem. And then the hero is also kind and is helpful to others to try and solve that problem for everyone. Here's my story plan, and I'm going to try and make my story plan based on the quick story that I showed you with the banana peel. I'm sure that your stories are going to be based on much more important problems in the world than people leaving banana peels on the sidewalk, but I did that one because it was quick so that I could show you the idea of planning a story. I'm looking at my hero story plan here, and the first thing it asks is about the problem. What problem did you choose? And so my problem is people slipping on banana peels. So, what's the cause of it? People who eat bananas not putting the peel in the compost. The effect is, of course, someone could slip on it and crack their head open on the sidewalk. That's a big problem. These two parts you've already researched, right? These are the parts that you did yesterday when you were researching the causes and effects of your problem. So you can just choose the ones that make the most sense for your story and put them in here. But this third column here, how could the hero help solve the problem, is something you might not have researched yet. So you might need to do a little bit more research to find out how some of these problems can be solved. My solution is going to be hero forces Ladybug to pick up the banana peel. There we go. That's easy enough. I'm sure that you're going to have a lot more detail in your causes and effects than I have. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I need to move on to the next parts. I'm just giving you an idea of how you could plan your story. Let's look at the second section, the hero. The first part says the hero's name. What could my hero be called? I never even thought about that. How about the peel preserver? Now that sounds weird. It doesn't need to have a superhero name. It could just be a regular person's name. It could be Samuel Lu. Samuel Lu. Describe your hero. This is where you can describe the appearance of your hero, or you can write about some of the things that your hero is like. Since my hero in this film looked a little bit like me, I'm going to write a description that looks a little bit like me. Tall, slim, likes wearing shirts with interesting patterns, hairy arms. There we go. Then I need to look at the character traits that make my hero an actual hero. As we've already discussed, heroes are brave, because they take risks or face their own fears, They're admirable because they have a skill or superpower that other people admire. And they're kind because they use their abilities to help other people, not just themselves. So I need to think about how my character can show these three things in the story through their actions. So, in terms of bravery, I'm going to say he confronts even though the litter bug has a intimidating beard. He confronts the person who litters, even though the litter bug has an intimidating beard. You know, that villain had a really scary, frightening beard, but our superhero confronted him nevertheless. What's next? Admirable. Oh, well, so this superhero did have a special superpower, and that was mind control, right? He was able to make the villain pick up the banana peel just by looking at him with his eyes, right? So that's his superpower. And then kind. He's kind because he protects other people from slipping on banana peels. Great. So now I know how my hero is an actual hero. Finally, before I start writing my story, I need to figure out what the plot's going to be. Usually in a plot there are three parts. In the first part, you introduce the characters and the setting. In the second part, the main character faces a problem. And then part 3, the problem gets worse or the struggle gets more intense. And then finally, the hero defeats the problem. So, let's take a look at how my story is going to work out like that. What's the character and the setting going to be? Well, the setting is going to be outside on the sidewalk, 5 p.m. And I'm quite sure that's how you spell sidewalk, so I'm just going to ignore what the dictionary is saying there. Characters. Well, we're going to have our hero, who's going to be Samuel. And he's already been described above, so I don't need to describe him again. And then our villain. Ooh. Oh, I spelled villain wrong. There. Who's our villain going to be? Oh, our villain is going to be the person who is littering. Okay, so what can we say about him? Well, he has a beard. And he likes eating bananas. There. I'm sure that you're going to do a much better job than I did, with a lot more detail than I did. I'm just doing this quickly so that you can get an idea about how to do it yourself. The next part is the main character faces the problem. Okay, so Samuel is walking down the sidewalk, stops to see the villain eating a banana, notices that he does not have anywhere to put the peel. Uh-oh, now the problem is going to get worse, or the struggle is going to get more intense. Villain drops banana peel on the sidewalk. Samuel asks him to pick it up. Villain refuses and stares at Samuel with his scary eyes. Now, how did the hero defeat the problem? Oh, right, mind control. Samuel hypnotizes. I don't know how to spell hypnotizes. Ah, that's how. The villain with his... Oh, I keep spelling villain wrong, too. With his mind control powers, villain picks up banana peel and puts it in Samuel's hand. Samuel puts the banana peel in the compost. There we go. And now I have a plan that's going to help me write my story before I've even started writing the actual story. This is not my actual story. This is just the structure outline of a story. It's a plan. It shows me where I am, where I need to go, and how I'm going to get there. But if I make this before I write my story, it's going to make the story writing a lot easier. Now that you've seen me plan my story, it's time for you to get started on your story. Download the story planning template and begin your journey.